Okay.
It's all set.
Everybody ready?
We're good. Yeah.
Okay, all right. We had the Temple Owls here at home this week. Originally, everyone knows we're supposed to have an off week. They had an off week, so I know they had that extra time to prepare. We've used our extra day or two to give our guys off before we started our routine, which I think is much needed. We did a little bit of recruiting, and then we did a little bit of evaluating, our own self, offensively, defensively, special teams. Just trying to get the best plan possible moving forward for the rest of the season. That was good to kind of watch us, and if we need to tweak some things, we did. When you look at Temple, I think it starts with their defense. I mean, I'm very impressed. Statistically, one of the best defenses in college football up to this point, especially in our conference. They do a really good job of eliminating big plays. They do a good job with their pressures and their fits and all that. They've had an extra week, and they got a new coach. I'm real impressed with him. He's been a good coach for a long time. You can tell his team takes on his personality. They had an extra week to prepare, so we've got to be prepared for really anything and be able to adjust like you would almost like a first game of the year. Questions?
Without having the full bye week, what had to be sacrificed? Was it maybe a few more days off? Was it recruiting? What weren't you able to do?
We had one day that we really put aside for self-evaluation. You want 2 to 3 to really do a thorough job, and whether it's tendencies or personnel or anything. A lot of times from a coach's standpoint, you get so wrapped up in the week-to-week game, and you get to catch your breath and look at everything and see what the other team's looking at. You can evaluate your schemes, what you're good at. Hey, we don't want to do that again. We need to do this more. A lot of times personnel too, you know a lot more about your personnel, what you can do. And then some guys deserve more playing time too. So we were able to only spend one day doing that, but it was really good, and I think it'll help us, not just this game, but moving forward.
Now that you've had time to evaluate John Rice Plumlee's performance, what did you think of overall first half and second half combined?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we played really good in the second half. First half, we missed a couple things, but, you look at the things that he does. I mean, he gets us out of some negative plays. Even the first quarter, an average quarterback probably would have had a negative play. He made some positive things happen. A lot of times those things get overlooked, by the casual fan. In the second half, he's very efficient. And, what's happening, I mean, he runs the ball extremely well, and, teams are daring to pass. And, of course, last week, that was really good. I think it'll help us in the long run that we can do really whatever a defense gives us, because they just decided to stack everybody up. They weren't going to let him run the football, and in the second half we were able to be efficient, with making them pay for that.
Coach, you mentioned some self-evaluation or got that day in, and another kind of mantra you've gone with is that the great teams or the good teams improve later in the year. What areas of focus, what you can provide anyway, would you say we're concentrated on the evaluation to make that happen?
It was really just kind of looking at us and writing down, hey, what are we better at this particular play? Are we better right or left with this particular play? I mean, it goes into detail with that, so you can give your guys the best chance of being successful, the rest of the season. So, a lot of times it's really a lot of detailed things about what you need to do moving forward.
You guys have already played 4 different days of the week. After this week, you guys are Saturdays the rest of the way. You guys are eager to get back to a kind of consistent game day time schedule.
Yeah, I'm a big routine guy, and there's 0 routine so far. So, I'm ready to get to Saturdays, but it is what it is. Our guys have been very resilient. It doesn't make them any difference. They've done a great job with adjustments. I'm real proud of our team, especially last game. The hurricane and everything, the emotional and mental toll that takes, is not easy. And our guys were able to recover and do a good job with that. SMU had some extra days, so I was real proud of our team. So I know that, playing on Thursday is not going to bother us. We're back kind of in routine. We had our Wednesday practice today, so within the days of the week, you stay within your game prep routine.
How would you evaluate the contribution some of your freshmen have made so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, we knew this was a very talented freshman group, and we're going to play our guys for the most part, and those guys have done a really good job. And my experience is freshmen second half of the season are no longer freshmen if they play. They started playing at a higher level, and these guys have done really a good job even up to this point.
How important was the last game for the passing game? Just getting a lot of guys involved. Kobe Hudson really made an impact for the first time. Javon obviously had a great game, but after a couple low-key passing games.
Yeah, it's good. That if if you can be balanced like we talked about and take what a defense gives you, every game's gonna unfold differently. And I think we're starting to get consistent with our passing game and making people pay, for trying to stop the run.
We mentioned last week that SMU could be the biggest, possible biggest conference challenge that the team would face. Now that they've beaten that, is there any sort of focus or key about keeping the motivation up for Temple and other opponents?
Yeah, really my message to our team is, it doesn't matter who you're playing or what, you gotta get better. And you can't pat yourself on the back if you have a big win. We played our best game, yeah, that's great. You gotta find a way to play better. That's what the special teams do. That's hard to do in college football. That's been my challenge to our players, our staff, myself. And like I always say, very few teams get better the second half of the season. Now, this will be our halfway point after this game. And then you got to draw a line in the sand, man, because very few, most of them will fall off a cliff or just try to hold it together. And we got to be different. And then this is, this team, like I said, they play extremely hard, and they're improved from last year. There's no doubt. They had a week off, and then being in this situation last year, I was here. It was my team for the first year. The off week was great for us. Because then you know a lot more, and so we've got to expect those guys are going to be even much improved in what they played, and that's our challenge to play our best game this week.
Have you gotten a look at the Space Game uniforms yet?
I did.
What can you maybe tease the fans about? What can you say about it all?
I like it. It looks good to me, and I'm kind of boring and all that, so if I like it, it's probably pretty cool. I like the helmet too, and I usually don't get into all that stuff, but when they showed it to me, it's pretty cool.
The whole space concept, there was a rocket launch right after one of these past games. I think you guys just got in the locker room. Maybe your wife was able to see it.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that? What'd you think?
Yeah, I saw my wife singing to Elton John and watching a rocket go after the game. That's pretty cool. That doesn't happen anywhere else either. So there's a lot of really cool stuff about this place that that's really neat to be a part of.
Yeah, there's been, with this transfer portal and the 4-game red shirts, I think SMU had a few guys opt out, even though there's windows. There's been some talk about just giving guys 5 blanket years. You don't redshirt, everyone has 5 years of eligibility. Have you talked to your peers about that? Do you think that would be a good idea to kind of prevent some of this stuff from happening?
I'm not. I'm thinking about winning the next game and all that, but I think we're in a new age of college football, and I think all those discussions are all up in the air about what's best moving forward with everything that's so new. So I'm sure all that will be discussed. It doesn't surprise me. New rule changes or nothing surprises me right now. And you just got to adjust. You got to adapt, and that's what we'll do.
What have you seen from RJ Harvey, and how do you like the way he's progressed?
Yeah, RJ's really coming on. He's a strong guy, can break tackles. He has very good lateral quickness. He'll press the line of scrimmage and bounce some things out, run through tackles. I think he's getting more and more confident. And, we've got 3 real guys, at running back, and they're all a little bit different. And that really is one of our strengths.
What more do you want to see from your special teams? You talked about some improvements. You've seen a punter and kicker. What about return game?
Well, the first thing is the penalties. We're doing a better job of playing disciplined, clean football and special teams. And that's really where it starts. We're starting to do the little things. We had 2 punts down inside the 10-yard line last week, and we're catching punts at a better rate, not letting it bounce, that hidden yardage, and so we're starting to do better. And I've said all along, I think we got a chance to be really good on special teams. Boomer, that's been a breath of fresh air with him coming in, just with the way he's done. He's a real confident guy, and he's done an unbelievable job. Our new punter is really getting the ball out quick and pushing the ball down the field. Osteen had the 2 inside the 10, and so we're starting to come together. As a special teams, we need to continue to build upon that.
How does Boomer's success change your thinking offensively? You have the confidence to know you can make a kick?
Yeah. It's like anything else. You put a guy out there and he's confident, and he drills it through on a consistent basis. Then you start looking at that as a strength. And I think we're really close to seeing it that way. He's done an unbelievable job, and I expect that to continue.
Defensive tackle Keenan Hester was addressed out last game. Do you have an update on his status?
Yeah, he's got a health status issue that he's dealing with. We're hopeful. We'll see, as far as what the future holds for that. Dylan Lester, we did lose Dylan Lester for the season. Real unfortunate. He's one of our team leaders and all that. That was a big blow to us, and he didn't play last week. Brandon Jennings is gonna, use his red shirt to set out, so he's gonna do that and just help on the scout team, you know, the rest of the year.
How important was it to see Ryan O'Keefe get into the end zone?
Yeah, that was good. You know, he's been close, you know, and then for him to have one of those breakout games, everybody knows what he can do. And, you know, he's been dealing with a few injuries himself, okay? You know, first couple games he was banged up and had a couple different things physically. He's starting to get healthier, and I think that's really good for us.
Your defense has seen such a variety of offenses this year, and they've consistently been really good, especially in the end zone. Just how impressive, even with the focus of that group, just adapting to
Their defense or our defense?
Your defense.
Yeah, our defense, I've been real impressed, because you're exactly right. We've seen different kinds of offense. We've given up some yards from time to time, but, you know, we're what, #1 team in the country in the red zone defense, and that's a sign of a real special group. And we got so many veteran guys that understand situations, and they understand the field condenses. And, you know, I think our defensive staff's done a great job with that too, but we've seen a little bit of everything, and I think that'll help us, you know, in the second half of the season.
When you're not playing on Saturday, I know you're always busy getting ready for the next one. Do you ever take a chance to kind of peek at some other college football games on Saturday night or anything like that?
No, you know, of course, this Saturday, I mean, obviously I'll turn on TV and you know, you try to kind of get a glimpse of maybe your future opponents. That's what I'm always, but it's really hard to kind of zero in. I'm kind of one of those one-track minds, hard for me to look ahead. I got to stay focused on, but I will casually check out a game or check out a series or two, you know, on certain nights of the week.
What's your sense of the American at this point?
There's some really good teams, you know, and of course it's been that way for a long time, but, you know, I think this conference, you know, gets overlooked a lot of times with some really, really good teams, and there's some of those that, you know, I think will be there towards the end. Like I said, we're gonna get everybody's best shot. We got Temple, and Temple's much improved, and we gotta play good football, and really that's the only thing on our mind right now.
Do you know Stan Drayton well? I know he's been in the SEC. Do you know
Who's
much
that?
about their head coach at Temple?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know him very well, or coach
You know,
against them?
I know who he is. I don't know him well. I know Coach Hand worked with him. We got a lot of respect. He's a football coach. He's a real football coach. We know that. You can see that when you know, turn on the film.
Well, so
Okay.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you all.